Hello again, Hidden Gem Javieres. Welcome back to our Hidden Gem series, if you want to call it that, where we're going through and talking about some of my favorite weapons that don't seem to get used too often. And also, like I said in previous ones, I definitely encourage you to mention in the comments any weapons you love for Air Raider that don't seem to be used too often as well, so we can have like a little bit of conversation. So anyway, let's get on to the weapons that I particularly like for Air Raider. Honestly, Air Raider is a little bit of a tougher class to do for this series, in my opinion. It seems like he has some pretty straightforward weapons that are just very good and everyone knows about, but there are a few that I could maybe see that maybe people don't know too much about. The first one I want to talk about is over here somewhere, and that would be the robot bombs. These things are actually pretty good this time around because in the previous games you had to actually manually set them off. They weren't easy to use. However, this time around they actually lock on to targets, which are pretty cool, and I actually like these quite a bit. These can be good for colonists or cosmonauts because you can actually throw them and they'll seek around the buildings and actually attack the enemy from the side or from behind, and actually follow them so you can stay in cover, and you can throw these things at them and it knocks their legs out. Of course, underground are good now too, which is pretty cool. They're actually pretty strong as well. Let's see, the best one here it's level 76 and it does 2,800 damage with a 20-meter blast, and you get 7 of them, so pretty crazy. I like them. I actually like them, and I would definitely suggest giving them a try. They're if not anything else, they're at least fun to use. They have a 350-meter lock-on. At least the best one does. I think the one below this one does has a 300-meter lock-on. The other one that also is available is level 53. It does 1,700 damage and a 17-meter blast, and you get 7 of them as well. So yeah, give these things a try. They're pretty cool. So let's take one of these, and then the next one I want to suggest would be the It's under Limpet guns here, and that would be the level. Let's see, where is it at? Level 61 Limpet Detector. This thing I think has some uses because it has obscene damage. The best one here, level 61, each, it shoots down a cluster, and you have 4 shots of them. Each cluster does 40,000 damage, and you get 4 of them, so that's an easy way to just drop out, what is that, 160,000 damage on the ground? Absolutely ridiculous. The only negative is the search distance range. I think is somewhere around 37 meters or something, but and also the negative, also on top of that, is for colonists and cosmonauts, it seems that their body has to set off the detector, not their legs, so it can be a little bit tough to hit them. However, if you use this thing underground or use it in close proximity, together, the cluster together, and that thing goes off, that thing does some serious damage. So I would definitely consider this, especially for how low level it is. There's a couple of them too. There's a level 38 as well, which does 15,000 damage per cluster times 4, and that's a level 38 weapon. So absolutely ridiculous. 60k for a level 38 weapon. So once again, just the search range is a negative, but I think there's some uses for them, honestly, and they're pretty fun. And then I can take 3 since I'm Air Raider. So the next thing I want to recommend is, I'm not sure how unknown this one is, but as far as in the request satellites column, I want to recommend using the level 72 Sprite Fall. The reason I like this one so much is because it fires its shots very quickly. If you notice the other Sprite Falls, they have 160 shots, and there's also another one up here that has 90 shots. But you'll notice that this level 72 has 60 shots. It's very cheap, so it calls in very fast, so it's easier to hit moving targets with. So it's one of my favorite Sprite Falls. I usually take this over the other ones just because of how fast it calls in, and I definitely recommend using it if you don't use it too much. So let's go ahead and take that one. Let's go ahead and use these on a mission here. Let's see, what mission would be good here to use them on. Okay, let's use this mission because I like the Sprigget unit. Okay, so for the robot bombs, the nice thing about these, like I said, is hopefully they don't see us earlier. You can track these guys through the through the walls here, and the robot bombs will actually track their targets very well, and it'll knock their legs out, the colonists. Or if you use it on ants or spires, I would recommend using a different bomb for each enemy, because otherwise it's just a waste. But as you can see, I can stay behind cover. The only negative is, of course, you blow up the cover, but you can stay behind cover and just stay back, and they'll all go off, and then you can go on to your next target and kill them pretty well. So pretty cool. I definitely like these things a lot. I mean, they're probably more fun than they are necessarily useful. I mean, I wouldn't say they're not useful, but there's probably other options that may be a little bit better. But I would say there's a time and place where these can be pretty useful. As you can see, you can just kill these things very easily by yourself. And these things don't miss their target, really. The only negative is I saw, like, I was playing a cave level, and I was trying to shoot enemies that were down the bottom of the cave, and the robot bombs literally took the path, like a spiral path, all the way around till they got to the very bottom. It took like 30 seconds. It's kind of funny. But yeah, these things are pretty cool. I definitely like them. So definitely give them a try. Let's go ahead and restart here and use the Limpet Detectors. These are a little bit harder on the colonists, like I said, because of the fact that the search range is a little bit short. But if they go off, they just absolutely destroy enemies. So I'm not sure if I can actually show a good demonstration of these on particular colonists, but I would definitely say use these underground is pretty good. Let me see if I can shoot these here on this path. Maybe they'll come here. Okay, they see me. Let me not get behind this cover here. Maybe they'll go through. Looks like he set them off. Not all of them, but come on through. Come on through. There he goes. Oh yeah, I just destroyed him. So I mean, you can set them up in main pathways, because you'll notice that colonists and cosmonauts like to take main roads. So if you use them on main roads, you'll find that they walk into those traps. So, and they're not just good for colonists. I like them on enemies too. But yeah, definitely give these things a try, because they're so overpowered damage for their levels. So now let's finally go to the Sprite Fall. I just want to show you how quickly the Sprite Fall comes in and just how good it is. I just love it. So you call it in, and a couple seconds later, calls in, and the shots are so fast, and it's over with quickly, and it's usually pretty good as far as how quickly you get it back, because it's very cheap. Mine's not maxed out, unfortunately, so it's not as strong as it should be. But yeah, I definitely recommend this Sprite Fall just because of how fast it calls in. Because other Sprite Falls usually will, 160 shots, and they'll just pepper an area for a long time, which can be good in some missions. If you want to just, destroy a certain section of the map for a very long time, the other Sprite Falls can be good. But if you just want something quick, for quick moving targets, then I would recommend the Sprite Fall Maximum. Alright, now let's go back and use the other three set of weapons I want to talk about here really quickly. Let's see. The next one I want to talk about is... Once again, these probably aren't too well known, if that's even a word, but I definitely recommend using the Bomber Vesta plans. I really like them. Unfortunately, the Phobos gets so much attention that the other ones may not get used as often, but I'd really like the fire plans quite a bit. They do quite a bit of damage. This best one here does 5,100 damage, and there's 40 of those fireballs on the ground, and they last 60 seconds. So pretty cool as far as just how long you can lock off an area, and it does work really well as far as stopping groups of enemies coming after you. Of course, you could always argue and say, well, just call the Phobos out and kill everything. But I would say that this is more for where you need to lock off an area over a certain period of time, whereas the Phobos can kill, enemies that are already spawned and coming at you in a group. Well, this is where it'd be more if they come at you slowly or something like a pillars or something like that. But the fire plans are pretty cool. This best one, level 84, does like a straight line across, and then there's another one that's further down, which can still be used on higher levels because it's more of like crowd control than anything else. I might not have the one that's further down. Oh, I do, at level 66. This one is a X pattern, I believe. And then there's also one that has like 2 parallel lines pattern. So they're all good for their own purpose. I like the patterns of all of them. So yeah, I definitely recommend giving the fire plans a try. Now this next one here I really love. I've always... in the past games, if you watch my channel in the past on 4.1, you would know how much I talked about the level 56 Prisms. Well, they are back, and I still talk very, very highly about these. This time around they have 33,600 health, and there's 3 of them, and they reload in a very quick 14 seconds, 14.4 seconds I think exactly. So this is my favorite thing. If you just want to help out your group and you're going to be constantly moving around the map, especially on like cosmonauts or colonists, take these bunkers, and what you do is you just lay them down. It's easy to like block off certain sections of the map with them, which I'll show here in a moment. And then, you know, wherever people are fighting at, just throw down 3 bunkers, and it helps out the party immensely. And then once they go down, 14 seconds later, you can throw them back up. So very, very cool bunkers. I definitely recommend them for all difficulties that you can use them on. So, and then the last thing I want to talk about is into the missile category, and that would be the cruise missiles. These things I like because of how fast they reload. When they're maxed out, they reload in 38 seconds. And that is very quick. It kind of reminds me of the satellite blaster, which I also love, which reloads in 30 seconds. So it's just a nice weapon that you can have up. You don't have to worry about killing enemies to get it back up, and you have it every 38 seconds. And it has a large blast, 30-meter blast, and it does a total of 70,000 damage for the best ones here. And I think the level 57 do 50,000, somewhere around there, 50, 60,000. For the same thing, they all reload at the same time, 38 seconds. So, just something fun. I like these missiles a lot because of the reload time, and I think they're decently fun to use. And they're not too difficult to use either because there's only 6 missiles. So let's take those 3 out, and let's start a mission up really quickly here. Let's do it on 17 because I think this is a good mission for this. All right, so I think I've actually talked about these before on this particular mission, but the fire plan, as you can see, it's a straight line. You can use it to drop in front of the enemies, and especially like if there's, like I said, pillars or something, you need to constantly block off enemies. You can just drop it in front of you and lock off the area for a long time, and it's pretty cool. I love it. It calls in not too fast, but as you can see, it's a very large fireballs, and there's so many of them that you can really block off a large section of the map. So pretty nice. I definitely would recommend messing around with them because I think they're pretty useful in certain missions. And then the cruise missiles, these things, like I said, they call in a little bit slowly, which is a negative. But the thing with these is you can just call them in and then just wait about 10-15 seconds. You'll notice that they'll start to circle overhead. Right there you go. They're all 6 of them are in the air, I think now. So once they're in the air, then you can just, you know, guide them in where you want them, and then let go, and they all will land where you let go, unless you want to, you know, change directions. You can have them all, you know, lock at the last known position, and they'll all just land pretty quickly, and then you have it up in every 30 seconds. So I think they're pretty useful for that reason. Because the Ionics, I think they reload in, I think, 90 seconds, 100 seconds, something like that. So, like I said, just call them in, wait about 10-15 seconds, and then just call them in on one target, so you can be doing something else while you're waiting for that, you know. That's what I like about the missiles. You can always be constantly doing something else in the background, and then when you want to use them, you just call them in where you want them, and then let go, and then you can either change targets, or you can just keep them in the same one target. Now let me talk about the bunkers here. Now these are absolutely so fun for me to use. 'Cause I like playing as a team. I like helping out teams, and these bunkers are just so great for that. If you like, you know, helping out the team, because you know you're following around your team through the city, and you're fighting, and you go to the next location where you're going to fight. You know, whether it be colonists, cosmonauts, or whatever, even like, you know, ants or something. And you say your team is up there. You know, you don't have to be near the team. You can just lay down the bunker, and as you can see, it's absolutely huge. Like, let me lay it out here so you can see how long it is. But it's absolutely ridiculous how long this thing is. So it's easy to block off a large section of the area for your friends. As you can see how far this goes down. So you don't have to be near your team. You can just lay it where they're fighting at, and it helps them out and allows them to stay behind cover for a little bit, and helps, you know, really helps out. And then when you reload it, it's very, very fast. And since it reloads in the background now, you can just have them ready whenever you need them and just throw them out. But you can even, like, you know, throw them through buildings too. Like say someone is in trouble, you notice someone in trouble, because I was using these the other day and I noticed, you know, someone was in trouble over to the right of me, pretty far out, and I just aimed that direction, laid down 3 bunkers really quickly for them, and they were able to get in between the bunkers and survive. So Very cool weapons. The only negative of these things is because they're so long and they're so large, the bunkers, they have more opportunity to get hit by enemies. And because of that, they go down a little bit faster than normal bunkers because they have so much, surface area to get hit. But I think that they're still very useful, even in open fields, just because of how large of an area they block off. But they will probably go down. Of course, they'll go down faster than absolute bunkers because absolute bunkers, are just right in front of you, very small. But the problem with the absolute bunkers is, like I said, is you have to have a coordinated group saying, let's stay right here for the absolute bunkers and protect ourselves here. Whereas this is more of like mobile. I want to help people on the run. So yeah, definitely give these things a try and try and level them up because when they're not leveled up, they're not as great. But when they're leveled up, it's pretty good. So, and let me just quickly really mention here at the end, if you didn't see my other video, say I'm trying to level up my level 56 bunkers, then what you want to do is you want to go to online mode and look, and then I would recommend hardest difficulty to upgrade your level 56 bunkers, and just look for a mission that drops level, let's see, 62 to 65-ish, because remember, on hardest, the weapons drop 5 levels lower to 15 levels lower than what the weapon limit is at. So if you do 62, chances are you're going to get your 56s in that mission, or 65 even. So that's an easy way to level these things up quickly, because it's just a 10 level spread on hardest, the drop, whereas Inferno drops a 25 level spread of weapons. So yeah, that'll be it for this one. Like I said, please mention the things you like in the comments and that you don't seem to get used very often. I didn't want to mention any of the major things that people know about, but for the most part, I thought those were kind of interesting. So yeah. Once again, thanks a lot for watching. I'll be doing Fencer next to finish that off, and then we'll move on to something else. But yeah, thanks a lot for watching, and remember, EDF doesn't leave a man behind, ever. And also, if you're interested in ways to support the channel, please consider liking the video or watching a few ads, as it does help financially, and it's very, very much appreciated. Thanks a lot.